Good morning and welcome to your Farm and Home Show. My name is Joanna Coles, and this morning we're visiting with Brandon Bell. He's the Metcalfe County Extension Agent for Agriculture and Natural Resources. Good morning, Brandon.
Good morning.
Now, Brandon, a lot of time when spring gets here, we think about all the things that we can do, and home composting might be one of those things that are valuable.
That's something that we can do not only because of the value of the compost itself, but it's enjoyable. A lot of people do composting as a hobby. Number one, depending on the type of system you have, you can get some good physical activity and exercise out of it, but you can also feel good about the fact that you have recycled something and made it into something beneficial. It typically is not that difficult. A lot of people may be a little bit nervous when they first start, and there is a little bit of a learning curve to it, but once you start doing it and get in your routine of what you compost, how you compost, it becomes pretty easy. There's no magic system. There are ready-made composting bins or tumblers. There are homemade outfits that you can construct yourself pretty simply. And then there is binless composting, which means you just have a pile. Binless is not generally recommended because it is hard to maintain the proper depth, because if you imagine a box and you can fill that box up equally with soil or with whatever you're putting in it, a pile is going to be more like a pyramid, and so you're going to have different depths all throughout that pile, so your compost is not going to be working equally throughout that pile as this process takes place. It's going to be important. So I would recommend getting a ready-made or pre-made outfit that you can purchase, or making your own bin. And one thing that you can do with your own bin is you actually can have compost in different stages if you make your own. You can make 3 square boxes, and then you can have one that's ready to fill, one that's cooking, and then one to turn others into or to draw from. So you can have ready to go in the process and just starting if you make your own bin. Things that we can compost would be our yard waste, leaves, grass clippings. We can do kitchen scraps, we can do newspaper, we can do cardboard. Things that we don't want to do would be meat scraps, bones, dairy products, pet waste, plants that are diseased, or weeds that are going to be invasive. But what we want to do is we want to put the right thing in there, and it's really important for this process to work right for our carbon to nitrogen ratio to be right. So we've got to have a certain number of browns and a certain number of greens. So our browns are typically considered to be carbon containing items, and our greens would be nitrogen containing items. So we want a ratio of 30-to-1 carbon to nitrogen. So we're going to want a lot more browns than we are greens in there. Okay. So what would be examples of browns and greens that we might have? Well, browns would be leaves, dirt, grocery bags, if we use the paper grocery bags, bird seed hulls, wood chips, things like that. Our greens might be grass clippings, plant clippings. So if we have an equal mixture of grass clippings and leaves, we automatically have a 30-to-1 carbon to nitrogen ratio.
Now, Brandon, you mentioned like the cooking process. How long does it take to have a usable product?
It just depends on how often you turn the pile. We have passive composting and we have active composting. And passive is just, we just kind of let it sit. And it can take months and months. Active, if we turn it often, and if we keep our moisture to 40 to 60% of the total weight of the pile, and we have the proper carbon to nitrogen ratio, we can have compost in as little as 2 up to 6 weeks, depending on the ingredients.
All right. Well, Brandon, certainly appreciate the information. If you're interested in composting but want more information, make sure to contact your local extension office. Thanks for watching and have a great day.